sorry is all that you can say. Years gone by and still words don't come easily. Like sorry, like sorry. Forgive me, it's all that you can say. Years gone by and still words don't come easily. Like forgive me, like forgive me. But you can say, baby, baby, won't you hold me tonight? Maybe if I told you the right words, ooh, at the right time, you'll be mine. You'll be mine. I love you, all that you can say. Years gone by and still words don't come easily. Like I love you, like I love you. You can say, baby, baby, can I hold you tonight? Maybe if I told you the right words, ooh, at the right time, you'll be mine. Baby, can I hold you tonight? Maybe if I told you the right word, ooh, at the right time, you'd be mine. You'd be mine. You'd be mine. You'd be mine. You be mine.
Good day, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours called Earth. This is AJ at KETRON USA, and today we're going to talk about the beauties and the advantages of having a workstation and an arranger combination. A lot of you out there have either or for the most part. But today we're going to focus on the strength of the workstation and how you can actually use the arranger workstation to enhance your original workstation, be that a Yamaha Montage M as we have over here in the studio, be that a Korg Kronos or a Roland Fantom or any other synthesizer keyboard that you have out there. Again, these next series of videos are designed to showcase the strength of the arranger, but also not to mimic or minimize the strength of the usual workstations, but how you can combine them, combine these two to be able to give you good music quickly. There's a saying in English that time is money and money is time. Now, if you're a producer, a workstation can actually simplify your work big time, because not only does it present itself as a sketchpad or as a notepad for you to start to design your music over, but it also cuts down the amount of time you spend in the studio, especially when you have a KETRON Event X or any of the KETRON Arranger workstations. And why do I say this? Because the work has already been done for you, okay? In the song I just did right now, sorry, You heard some very, very amazing things coming out of both of these machines. About 80% or 90% actually was coming out of the Event Workstation module, in this case the Event X. Now don't forget, you also have access to the SD90, or for those on a lower budget, the SD40 will do just fine. Just a lot of bells and whistles that have been cut out of that module. Okay, so without much ado, we're going to talk about how I use these two to produce that song. And a lot of the content you heard already comes from the workstations. Now, where and if there's additional content from the Ajam package, which is meant for the American market for the most part, I will emphasize and show you that. So without much ado, let's dive in. Let's start off with those guitars, okay? So the one thing that you do get when you get the KETRON Event is the fact that you have live guitars. And a lot of people were asking questions about the difference between the live guitar here and just sampling a guitar sound on an instrument such as the Montage M7. Well, here it is. When you sample on the Montage, for example, you're triggering those notes with individual keys, right? On the Event, there also does exist sampling, but the power of the Event is in the loops, the capability and the ability to play loops as long as 64 measures long. But the key is in being able to control those. So for an example, in here, if I go over to this, and I'm going to break down this particular style that you're going to see here, which is sorry. Let's see if I can share the screen so you can see what I am seeing on my machine. How about that over there? There you go. Okay, so as you can see, that is the screen of the KETRON Event. Now, if you look, what direction are we in? Over there. Yeah, this way. Okay, I have to point in the right direction. So that is the screen of the KETRON Event. The beauty about that is it has an HDMI out port over here. You see a little cable. So I'm able to connect that into my recording device, and so can you. So over there in the corner, you see the KETRON Event screen, and I'm going to go in and let's go into view and modeling. So that way you can see exactly what we're talking about. Now, when you go into chords and you look at the live guitar over there, right? Now I'm going to bring down the volume of the drum and the bass. I'm going to go to Arranger A, and this is how I started a song. If you actually know this song, okay, it starts with a guitar strum similar to this. If I don't do anything, I'm just going to get that strum in that particular key, okay? When I change the chord, so this is where the arranger cuts down on your time in the studio. Imagine you would have to actually call a musician, okay, to come to the studio to record that. Well, KETRON have done that for you already, all right? And if I go back in there, you're gonna see that we have many, many guitar strums. This is just one of them, okay? I could have gone in there and said, okay, let me pick another one. Let me pick this one, for an example, and use that for my song. So you can see the idea of having the live guitar gives you so much strength as a studio engineer, as a producer, and best of all, as a performer, okay? Let's pick this one, fingered. Again, for the same song, okay, I haven't done any production whatsoever. I am just showing you what the content of this is for this particular song, Sorry. Let's do this. What about the funky? How about this one? Now, most of you can realize, if you got good ears, you heard that strum that comes in before that, right? That is actually known as the long chord. If you go to the screen over there, all right? Oh, I think I changed my screen here too quick. Let's go over back to this one over there, all right? So that's the long chord. So in this long chord over here, I can pick different kinds of strums, and these are the strums that come in on the first bar of the first measure. Like you would do a live guitar player, right? You actually have the strum that's coming in here. I can also change that. I can have a long strum, you know, I could pick this for example. Bring in my drums and bass. Sorry. is all that you can say. Words don't come easily. So, the beauty about this is, again, having that selection, right? That is something that is close to impossible to create on our workstation, especially when you have them from scratch, all right? So I wanted to go through so we can actually see and listen to where what is happening, what is coming from what. So in this particular case, the arrangement is predominantly coming from the KETRON event. And I just showed you what we did in terms of accessing live guitars, okay? This also is true for the bass. The keyboard or the module also comes with live bass lines. So let's do the same thing again. I'm going to go and access that library just to give you a taste of the different possible bass lines you could have used for this song. I'm just trying to focus on this song so you can then think in your mind, wherever or whatever part of the world you're from, how this can be able to benefit you. So same thing, we're going to go back into that screen. It's going to be at this corner over there, if I'm pointing correctly. Yeah, there it is, okay? I'm going to go into the bass, and again, I have a whole lot of different bass lines to pick from. Now, that number at the end tells you the original recording BPM, or tempo in simple English, the tempo of the original recording that was used, okay? And you don't want to deviate too far from that tempo in order to maintain the audio quality. So we're going to keep at 73. So what you're going to do right now is, since the tempo of this song is at 73, you want to pick bass lines that are close to 73. So if I pick this for an example, all right, the original bass line we'll listen to, let's take out the drums, take out the guitar, let's hear just that bass. Oh, the real chord is in there. That's the bass. So pick another bass line. Is all that you can say. Words don't come easily. Now watch this. I'm going to do something interesting. I'm going to pick something more funky, right? So imagine, again, keep that beat in your mind, all right? Keep that beat in your mind. Let's go into, let's say, a cumbia. What would a cumbia bass line sound like with this same song? Here we go. Well, that you can say. Words don't come easily. Now, mind you, if you're the bass player doing his thing, if I bring in those drums, like I love you, like I love you. Forgive me. Well, that you can say. Words don't come easily. It's all that you can say. Forgive me, forgive me. But you can say, baby. Now, what happened in there? All those changes I did were only impacting variation A. And that's why if I go back to variation A, our changes are all in variation A. The moment I go to variation B, it goes back to the original settings that were in B. I also got C and I also got D, right? So if I went here to the screen on the bottom right-hand corner, so if I point over there somewhere, yeah, bottom right-hand corner, if you touch, right now it's on single, which means that all the changes I'm doing are impacting the single variations independently, okay? If I change that to global, then whatever changes I do in here in terms of my volumes and style selection, live guitar or style selection, bass, it's gonna impact all the variations at the same time to save you time. Wow, that's interesting. At the same time to save you time, right? So yes, I want to make sure that you understand what's going on here. So I have it right now set to single because I want to make sure that whatever changes I'm doing here are not impacting the other variations. And what does that do? that allows me to be able to program different variations. In that way I can build my music. And that is the power of live modeling. In the last video we did, we spoke about live modeling using the KETRON Audio 4. In the event, it's a lot more simpler. It's a lot more easier to navigate thanks to the large 7.5 touchscreen as well. So a lot more information gets displayed on the screen and your selection and navigation is a lot easier. So this is getting very, very interesting. Now we've spoken about the live guitars, we spoke about the live bass. Guess what? You also have the live drummer. So up until now, you heard those drums. That was a standard ballad beat, right? But again, I could get very, very creative in the drums as well. Let's switch over so you can see what I'm talking about here. So on this panel, again, I'm going to go over to my drum section over here. And this is all happening within that same style. I haven't budged from that style, okay? So in this section here, we have the 8-beat 73 with effects. That's what the FX stands for. Let's go over so you can see what's happening on that screen, okay? So that's what you're seeing on your screen right there. I can now expand it because you have an idea of what I'm talking about, right? If I touch the beat 73A effects right there, it gives me that window which allows me to select other drum patterns that I can use for this particular arrangement, right? So to make this interesting, what about if I go over and pick something? Again, I want to stay very close to that BPM. I'm going to explain this. I'm going to explain this to you a little bit later. So I'm going to find something that's going to be really, really interesting, okay? Something like this, all right? So let's say I want to make this into a dance hall style, right? Sorry is all that you can say. Words don't come easily. Again, listen to that guitar doing its thing. Like forgive me, like forgive me. You can say baby. So you can see how you're having fun with the bass line. You're having a live bass player back you up. And so far we've discussed, all that we've talked about so far is with regards to, sorry, not the Yamaha, with regards to the KETRON. All that we've talked about so far is with regards to the KETRON event. I haven't even touched the montage yet to tell you what part and what role that had to do in this song. Again, MIDI out from the montage, MIDI into the KETRON, one cable, and I have an output from here going to my mixer, and an output from here also going to my mixer, and that way I get the sounds of and the best of both worlds. Okay, so back on topic, we're talking about drums. So imagine now, right, I can go in there, have a whole bunch of drum sets to pick from, especially with the Ajam package. You also have the Latin set, which comes with that as well too, okay? So really, that song can be played in many, many, many ways. I'm going to just go in right now and pick another style that has already been assembled with different parts. Let's try and spice this up, okay? I'm going to go in here. I'm going to go into the Latin section, and I'm going to go in and pick this beat. I'm going to try and slow it down. Now, you know Latin music generally is fast, okay? So why am I doing this? Because I want to give you the power of the arranger. How in a matter of seconds, I can take somebody's song and make it personalized, make it my own, right? So now, see, I'm showing you what you can do with the mixed drums, mixed bass and guitar. Now I just took this song and I'm using a salsa rhythm, which has its own drums, its own guitars, its own real bass. And guess what? If I was playing before a Latin community, I would be doing this with this particular song. Here we go. Riba-riba! Sorry is all that you can say. Years gone by and still, I mean, you can hear what's happening, especially based on the fact that you have very long loops here. So a lot of times, even you yourself, the owner of this product, sometimes you get surprised every day, even if you play the same style, but you're playing different songs, because based on what chords you're playing, based on the velocity or what notes you're playing, you hear different things coming in from percussion, from bass, and from guitar parts as well, okay? So this is, again, the strength of having an arranger built into a workstation. Now, what about the Yamaha Montage, and what value did that add to this particular song? Well, as I've always said before, Yamaha have a very good grasp on lead and right-hand voices in this particular case. So when you heard me play that in the beginning, I had some nice synth sounds here. Now, this motion wheel right here is doing a lot of things. You know, being able to, let's go back here so you can see what I'm doing on the screen. If I use this wheel, I can actually adjust different parameters in real time. So at the beginning of the song, I use this cinematic floats, which I've edited, so that you can see that when I turn that wheel, one of my parameters here is actually being turned as well. There we go. So motion control, right? I'm able to use one wheel and change up to 8 different parameters of the voice at a given time. And this comes in very, very handy here because, listen to this. At the beginning of the song, I was playing, see that? So I can do a sweep, and really, this is the same in this case as just changing that particular parameter, because this wheel was programmed to move just this parameter for that voice. Now, the other voice that I used also was this one, where I was able to program the wheel to move just this parameter, right over here. Okay, and this sounds basic, but when you're a music creator, this can actually make or break you, right? Being able to have certain voices and sounds, which the arranger is limited. That's where the limits of the arranger are for the most part. The workstations give you the capability and the ability to go deep into sound creation and making things your own. And that's what a lot of music creators do. They love to have a workstation like this. Now, as somebody who's creating content, in other words, you're creating jingles, or you're creating music or backing tracks, which we'll talk about a little bit later, this is where this tool comes in very, very handy, because you can actually have, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 clients a day in and out, right? Now, you, the artist or the musician at home, okay, a lot of times you go into the studio and you go in with an idea, right? And the studio engineer, based on their limitations, tell you, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can do that, we cannot do this. And you come out of there frowning with a USB stick, which was not intended to be. The good thing about having an arranger is that you can now control your music. You can pre-produce a lot of this at your home or your home studio. Take that USB stick or that recording into the studio where you want to go and do the master production and say, listen, this is what I'm looking for. This is what the output I'm looking for should sound like. This is what it should be like. And now the studio engineer has no choice but to technically abide by what you just told him or her, right? Because you've actually provided content that's very, very close to what you're looking for. The problem is when you just walk into a studio with a piece of paper and say, I have this in my head, you are now at the mercy of the studio engineer. So I'm giving you all of these things. I don't know exactly who's watching. I know we have people who play in church. I know we have studio engineers watching. I know we have content creators as well. These are the different strengths of being able to have an arranger workstation, especially in combination with your existing workstation that you have right now at home. So let's go back and talk about what we were talking about here. So you realize that based on the voice selection I have over here and the sounds that I pick, I'm able to modify those voices and be able to call in those tracks. See, like in this particular case here, this wheel is programmed and I'm moving and I'm changing 2 parameters. I'm also using expression pedal, whereby I can, as I'm playing, I can move the pedal up or I can move it down. And by moving the pedal, this is not magic, by the way, okay? The pedal is what's doing this right now. The pedal is assigned to control that wheel. So as I'm moving that, it controls that wheel, which is programmed to control those 2 parameters for this particular performance, okay? There are certain performances in there. For an example, if I go up the page here, where I might actually have the wheel controlling more than 1 or 2 parameters for the particular sound. Okay, just to make the sound be realistic. In this case, for an example, I have it controlling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parameters in real time. this would be close to impossible to control while you're playing and doing all that stuff. Now, the good thing about this is that if you are in the studio, right, when you are in the studio, you have the time to do all these changes and to adjust certain things and record and delete and come over again and change again and again and again. But when you're playing live, time is of essence. You want to have quick access to certain things. So you want to make sure that you do your homework and take care of this while you're at home, so that when you're on the stage performing, or if you're in church playing, all you're doing is calling up different parameters and adjusting them on the fly. Again, the power of the workstation is being able to give you that control over different elements. For example, different voices. When you layer sounds, like in this particular case, where I'm using an ANX FM, which Yamaha is very good at, FM voices. Wow, the DX7. So in this case, I'm able to adjust, in this case, 4 different voices that we use to create that particular, what Yamaha would call performance, right? Which is the performances layer of combination of different layers of different voices and different parameters and effects that you can use for that. And the good thing here too is, like, we have registrations over there. They have something here too, similar to that, which is called scenes. So I can use one performance, and within that performance, I can store different scenes, which is different setups for that voice, right? So when I'm performing, all I'm doing is just calling up the different scenes in real time. Again, this is not a tutorial for the Yamaha Montage. This is more focusing on the KETRON Event X, but I want to be able to show you what I'm doing in real time to be able to create that song that we did. And the last but not the least, we also have the Vocalizer, which is also being done from the KETRON Event. Okay, so I got this mic over there, and I'm going to turn off my other mic. So now you can hear my voice. It's coming out of this mic over there, right? Of course, you got the reverb in there too. On the KETRON, let's go back to that screen. I'm going to show you something here real quick. If I press and hold the microphone button for 2 seconds, it takes me to this screen. Now, there's a talk function here, where if I hit talk like I'm talking to you right now, it removes the reverb and all the effects, right? So that the good thing about this is that when you start playing, the effects comes on automatically. When you stop playing, then it goes into your talk mode, okay? So the Pro Pack number 2, which we're about to release in a few days from now, is going to simplify a lot of this for you. For those of you that have different kinds of microphones, for an example, you'll realize that in the Pro Pack, we're going to have settings in here, microphone settings for Shure, Sennheiser, and AKG, and also if you're a male or a female. A lot of people have, don't really understand some of the parameters that are here, and so we're trying to simplify it for you. Okay, so that way all you're doing is just turning things on and off. So in this case, for the Vocalizer, you could hear me singing with the harmonizer that was coming from here as well. If I touch and hold that for 2 seconds, it takes you to that screen, and you can see the various harmonizer settings. So what we're going to add here is harmonizer settings for the Shure microphone, the SM and the Beta series, for Sennheiser as well, and for the AKGs. So we're doing that because some of these parameters, a lot of people are lost as to what these parameters do and how they can benefit them. So let us do the work for you. That's what you're paying the big bucks for, right? So this is what was done. So the microphone is coming out and it's plugged into the back of the event. And you have a gain knob, which is set, and also in the Pro Pack 2, we'll tell you exactly how to set that knob, right? So back to my other microphone now. So this is what we did here. Of course, those are the settings we have. And then we had the full production, okay? So what I'm going to do at the end of this video, I'm going to record this right now, and I'm going to put a link in the description. So for those of you who create jingles, or for example, or if you create backing tracks, right? You can make your own backing track from this keyboard just by you doing what we just discussed here today, right? So the whole idea is I can go in and in a matter of an hour or even less, create a backing track for somebody, right? So you can do that, or a karaoke track as well too. So I'm going to put a link in the description. I'm going to record this song and then put that link there so you can download it onto a USB stick. And regardless of what keyboard you have or computer, it will now depend on how good your sound card is. You should be able to reproduce or play back exactly what I just did over here too. So again, without much ado, I just wanted to let you guys, give you guys a snapshot of the power of this combination going back and forth between the Montage, in this case, Yamaha Montage, and the Event X module. Remember that KETRON is one of the very few companies out there that still make arranger modules, especially something that can do what the Event X can do. If you are an accordion player or if you're a guitar player, this adds a lot of value to your existing setup, right? Just being able to have a machine that incorporates live performances and live the human element. You can, like I said, synthesizers and computers, they all have their place, right? But for those of you who appreciate music the way I do, you would agree with me that even though we have, moved on in terms of how we process music and how we create music, the music of today does not have the because I can't find that word, but if you know what I mean. It doesn't have the as the music of yesterday's, right? And if you go in deeply and ask yourself the question, why? What has changed? Is just the simplicity of the machines that are used to create music today versus the instruments and tools that were used to create the music of yesterday. So this is a machine, yes, but inside this box you have Peter, Thomas, Mary, Lucy, Marco, Sandro, AJ, and all of us, different musicians and artists from all over the world. We are in this box abiding by your commands when you change the chord. That's the best way I can put it, right? And that's the difference between the KETRON products and every other product which is out there. I think that's the best way I can actually do it, and very, very simplified. So without much ado, let me leave you now with an instrumental version of this Sorry. Again, I apologize for the singing at the beginning. I am not really a professional singer, but I was just doing that to demonstrate the strength of this machine. And for those of you who thought I did a good job, I guess I must say thanks to the KETRON, it made me sound better than I actually am, right? So without much ado, adieu. I will see you all again in the next video. But again, just be patient. We're going to put a link on the bottom in the description that's going to have this song that I'm about to play right now, which is a Sorry, but I'm going to do it. It's an instrumental version. That way I can really play lead parts on the Yamaha, split voicing, and call up the different parts on the KETRON in real time, okay? So again, I want to thank you all. If you want any information with regards to KETRON products, if you want to purchase a KETRON product, do give us a call. You can see the information we have somewhere, somewhere down here. Yeah, I think so. All right, so somewhere down here, you're going to get the information as well, and we're going to leave that also in the description. Please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to be notified, especially every time that we put up new content and new videos. Also ask your questions. We do try to get to those questions within 24 hours. I understand that the build-up is there. We are now at 4,008, 4,009 subscribed members and building because of you. We'd like to say thank you to the community. So the bigger you get, you will understand, of course, that it will take a little bit more time to get to your questions. But we do offer the best service out there, especially when it comes to after-sales service on KETRON products. Don't take my word for it. Look at the Google reviews, look at the Facebook reviews, and all the other social media reviews. It's one thing when you purchase a product from a store or manufacturer. That's good and all great. But for $300 or $400 difference in price due to shipping and due to import tax or what have you, wouldn't you want to have somebody that you can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, how do I do this? How do I do that? That's what we are here at Ajam for. Ajam Incorporated, we are here to service our customers and to show you, as you can see in this case, we're not really being biased, how you can use your existing equipment to the fullest. Those of you that have Yamaha montages, again, I'm not a Yamaha expert, but I'm able to explain to you the elements and what you can do on this keyboard to have this talk to this one, okay, and back and forth. And so if you have it there, let's leave you off with this.